So today we're going to go through how my agency was able to make over $12,000 in the last 7 days. And to be honest, looking at the Stripe dashboard here, it's actually a lot lower than we normally do. We did over 19,000 the previous week. One thing I'm going to do for you as well is just refresh the page because a lot of people don't bother to do this. So this should hopefully validate the claims. Here you go. The same numbers are there. So I'm going to break down exactly how we were able to do that number. And the important part is replicate how you can do it as well. Now, you're probably thinking, why would I give that away? What's working for my agency? And there's very good reason for that. I run a business model, and the way that I run my agency is different to everybody else. So it's actually in my incentive for you to copy what I'm doing and to understand it well enough because I benefit for that. So you're going to see exactly how that works here. I'm going to break down everything from start to finish about how we get our clients, what we pitch to them, what offers we have. And then you can basically use that to replicate for yourself or partner with us in whatever capacity you want to do that in. Now, real quick, if you don't know who I am, my name is Hamza Automates. I'm the founder of Hexona Systems. I run a pretty big personal brand online by Hamza Automates on social media, but I also run an award-winning 7-figure AI automation agency called Hexona Systems. So you can see me here winning some of my awards online. The other really cool part, which I just found out the other day, is that I created the first automation tutorial on YouTube before ChatGPT was even out. So I've been in this, AI automation space for quite a while here. There's a bunch of stuff you can find out about me. I've, generated over hundreds of thousands of dollars using my agency over the last couple of months. And more importantly, I also got an article written about me in Yahoo Finance, which you can actually search up. You can read all about my story and stuff and how we're able to hit the numbers we're hitting. But really, the idea of this video, that's just for you to obviously get familiar with who I am. But the idea of this video is for me to show you how I was able to do this, how to leverage AI, how to start making money with automation. Basically just copy pasting what I'm doing. I'm going to give you the exact blueprint. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you why I'm giving this to you. And then accordingly, you can either act on it or not. Doesn't matter to me. Leave a comment. I can answer any questions you have. So first thing I want to do for you is explain what is the AI automation gold rush. What am I talking about when I say make money with AI? Now, you obviously probably use ChatGPT, but what most people don't realize is that there's an opportunity to implement that into businesses, to actually help them use AI to generate them more revenue. I don't care about saving time. All I care about is generating more revenue. And the truth is, most small and medium-sized businesses around the entire world are leaking money every single day. Now, they're missing calls, which means they're missing customers. They have to deal with no-shows if they're doing appointments. They're wasting their time, which is leading to hurt revenue. They're running ads, but they're not following up with these leads fast enough, and there's too many drop-off points in their sales processes. These are just examples of a bunch of things that businesses are messing up on, but most of them think that they just need more leads, that their top of funnel needs to get better. But the truth is, they just need better systems to capture and convert the leads that they already have. That's what I do. That's what the business I'm in is, where I basically look at their ecosystem and I'm like, how can I use AI and automation to help you make more money? That's all I care about. So if you can find the revenue leaks, then that's how you're going to make money. Now, you might be wondering, what businesses does this actually work for? Who are my clients? Who do I work with? And there's a bunch. It can literally work for almost any business you can imagine. I love service-based businesses because it's a very clear transaction. They have leads, they have customers. A lot of them operate the same way, whether it's appointment-based or transactional, whatever that is. So barbershops, salons, gyms, real estate agents, whatever that is, clinics. I don't like restaurants too much, but you can help them. They just have low margins and often they're hard to work with, and a bunch of other examples as well. But what you need to understand is very important, is that the niche is not important. The health of the business is. You need to actually look at the business itself. Do they have a good cash flow? Do they have a good lead flow? And do they have a good, strong demand within their business? But on top of that, do they leak money daily? But these are the core criteria. I'm going to show you how we can actually get deeper into finding these types of businesses. But the what I'm trying to explain here is that you want a high cash flow business that has low systems. That's where the gold mine is. That's where the opportunity is. You don't want to go to a real estate agent who's just getting off the ground, who has no leads, he has no infrastructure, no systems. You think that they're the ones who need the most help, but all they need is leads and marketing. They have no systems in place. They don't know what they're doing. You want to go to the top 10 to 15 to 20% of businesses in any niche, and they're overflowed with calls, leads, they're running ads, they're getting a solid pipeline and inflow of business. Then we can optimize them. Then we can help them go from a 30% conversion rate to a 40%. That 10% could be tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what you care about. You want to help a good business get better. You don't want to help a struggling business get good. So that's the main first thing I want you to understand right there. Now, one thing you might also want to understand is you might be wondering, is it too saturated? I'm seeing AI content everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of people doing AI automation stuff, but everybody's doing it wrong. They're selling AI receptionists to everybody that they can find because they thought it was the next hottest thing. But they don't realize that they're pitching AI receptionists to a guy getting one call a week. That's completely pointless. They aren't finding the right fit for their products. They're just trying to shove it into everybody. So the good thing for you is that AI is everywhere. It's in the news. Business owners are hearing about it. They hear their competitors use it, but they don't know how to apply it themselves. The tools exist. There's people who are peddling them and offering them and all these gurus, but no one is actually there to logically connect the dots for a local business in the way that they understand in their specific ecosystem. Now, in 2 to 3 years, absolutely every business is going to have a system like this. But right now, from what we're seeing, very few do. There's still businesses that are doing very old, archaic processes. And that's why there's an early mover advantage right there. And that would be your opportunity to jump in, which is obviously what I've capitalized on already, making the money that we do. But there's an opportunity for other people to do this as well. Now, the next thing that I want to jump into is, so now you know who you can go after. How do you actually reach out to them? How do you get in touch with them? So one method for that is going to be cold outreach. Now, a lot of people are scared of cold outreach, and you should be, because when you're starting out, it is scary. But making cold calls, sending cold emails, cold DMs, running ads, creating content, there are so many ways for you to get your first client. You need to find out what is right and what works for you. But people get this wrong, where they think that the initial cold outreach is where they should be doing the pitching and the closing. That's absolutely not true. The objective of the initial outreach is just for you to book a sales call, just to get them onto another meeting. How? Now, how do you do that? You get them intrigued and interested enough to want to talk to you more and understand how AI automation can help their business. So I have a script for that, which I'm going to show you a little later. But the idea is that you just tease them enough, you get them excited, you play on the FOMO and the fear that, they aren't implementing AI as they should, and you can help them get into the future. Once they're on that sales calls, the process is the exact same regardless of whichever method you used up here to get them there. But the most important thing is you find an outreach method that works for you, that you can do consistently, and then you master it to book as many meetings as you can. That's what we've done. We've got all of these channels running for us simultaneously. We're running ads, we do cold email, cold calling. I personally started with cold calling. That's why I'm the most attached to it, and I can give you some guidance on that. But you need to find one that works for you, and the only way to do that is by trying them all. Now, the process here is, like, I'll show you the sales cycle. Really, it's very simple. What you do is you do that initial outreach, like I just talked about. You get them onto a discovery call. So regardless of how you got them on there, you do the discovery call. And the objective of this call, I'm going to show you the exact framework that we use to find out what to sell them on that call. So you do a discovery call, you uncover their pain points, you identify what category they fall into. I'm going to show you these 3 categories because this is the foundation secret sauce. Then, once you know what bucket they fall into, you do a diagnosis. You figure out, based on the problems that they told me and how they're doing things currently, what can I offer them at that point? Now, we have something called our core blueprints. These are revenue generating gold mines that we basically offer to our clients. And now, if it's a good fit for one of our productized services, our blueprints, we go there and we just close the deal. If it's a custom deal, if they need something that I don't know off the top of my head if I can do, then we delay the sales cycle a bit. We do a custom larger deal, and I go back to my development team and we scope it out together. And then for that scenario, we'll do a follow-up call and then go into the fulfillment process. I'm going to break down all of this for you in a second, but the important thing right now is we figure out how to do our outreach. Now we need to understand what to do on that discovery call, because if you book a meeting and you meet with them and you don't know what to say, it's completely pointless. So I'm going to show you now the discovery call. So this is my discovery framework, branded at HDF, whatever. But here's how to find exactly what the business needs and exactly what to pitch them. Now, every service-based business that you talk to is going to fall into one of 3 buckets. And this is standard across the board, no matter what niche you fall into. They either need more leads, they have leads and need to convert them into customers, or they have customers and they need to retain and upsell them. So if they need more leads, it's maybe they're just getting off the ground or they're struggling right now. They have an inconsistent pipeline. My favorite category is the middle one. So if they have leads, but they need to convert them into customers better, this is great because there's probably slow responses, missed calls, they're ghosting their prospects. Whatever that is, we can fix that easily for them. And then the last one is they have customers, so they have a good customer base, but they come once, they don't come back. There's no loyalty, there's no retention. Cool, we can help these guys as well. I hate this category. I don't like helping a business that's struggling that, they don't have any leads because likely they don't know what they're doing. They don't have any cash flow to invest to work with me, and they likely just need a traditional marketing agency. So there's not much I can do for them. But your job essentially is to identify which one of these buckets the business is in and what to offer them to solve that problem accordingly. Now, within our own ecosystem, we have our Hexona blueprints, which I've been talking about, which I'll show you shortly. But it's like, your top best-selling, most popular automations. We have those productized and drilled down to a T. We've got dozens of case studies for all of them. So we know that whenever we're faced with that specific problem, we know exactly what to offer there. So when you get onto a sales call with a prospect, what you want to do is you want to open broad. Basically, what is your biggest challenge right now in order to identify what bucket do they fall into? So they either need leads, need to convert the leads or upsell. If they need to, get leads, then we'll dig a bit deeper into, what are you doing right now to get leads? Are you running ads? How have you got your clients in the past? Is it word of mouth, this or that? And then based on that, we have some options we can suggest them. Like I mentioned, it's not unlikely that I'll just refer them to a marketing agency and just say, "Hey, you're not ready for AI automation. I can't help you. Here's a marketing agency who can run some ads for you, and we can sort that out." There's some other ones here, like if they have a website and they're getting good traffic, like maybe they're getting over 1,000 visitors a month, I can help them convert those visitors into leads with like an AI agent, a capture agent, or like conversions on the website, pixel tracking, things like that. So that's technically converting traffic to leads. So it's lead gen to some aspect, converting their social media audience to leads through Instagram DMs or like a B2B cold email campaign. So I know that that bucket, if they ever need leads, these are the options I have to work with. Now for the conversion, like I mentioned, I love this category, right? So if they're following up with their leads too slow, I've got a speed to lead agent right there. So I'm going to ask some questions to figure out which one of these categories they have. So okay, they're a clinic, they're running appointments. I'll ask them their appointment show rate. What's the no show rate like? How often do people get rescheduled? What's the drop off point like that? How often do they follow up after the lead is dropped off? Based on those answers, I'll know they need a lead nurture sequence. I know that they'll need an appointment reminder system. So I basically, in my head, I'm calculating these things in real time. If they're missing, over 50 calls a week, I know that they might need missed call text back or voice AI agent. This is not revolutionary stuff. These aren't crazy automations, but I know that they solve problems really well. Now, the flip side of this is if you went into the call saying, I've got missed call text back, I've got the best voice AI agent, without asking them the questions if they needed it, you might be pitching voice AI over here, but really their problems are like over here where they're like, I have a good customer base. I'm not missing any phone calls. I'm just not getting any recurring business. My customers have a very small LTV. If that's the case, then why am I pitching voice AI over here when I should be pitching something over here? So your job is to know where to map this accordingly. People do this wrong all the time. They're pitching the wrong solution to the wrong person. I can never do that because I have something for everybody and I just need to find out what bucket you fall into. So that's the most important part. This discovery framework is so valuable and I can make a super long, in-depth video about all of these specific questions and the framework and mapping that, which I will do. Obviously, I have that created. So I'll tell you how to get access to that in the end. But this is something you need to understand because if you have a fixed offer and you're trying to shove that down everybody's throat, that's why you're struggling to make any sales because you're not doing a discovery first. You don't even know if they need what you're selling at that point. Cool. So that's how to do the discovery framework there. Now, once you know exactly what they need, now you have to go for the close, right? You've found out, okay, they're not following up with their leads. They're leaving so much money on the table. They have about a 30% conversion rate. That should be at least 60%. I can solve that for them. Now they have to believe that you're the person that can help them do that. The way to do that for me, obviously, is with case studies. Case studies showcase and prove that I've done what I'm saying I can do. So we have case studies on like how we helped a daycare get a 15% increase in registrations, or how we helped a solar company unlock, $24,000. And we have this to a T broken down with all the numbers, walkthroughs of what we built. So case studies are the most important thing, which are going to help you close. Now, of course, if you're watching this, you might be a beginner and you might not have the case studies yet. So I'm going to put you on something which is very, very important, which is you have the ability to borrow and white label case studies from other agencies. Now, a lot of people don't know this, a lot of people don't do this, but this is something that's going to give you a head start over everybody else. The concept is called agency arbitrage. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like and how to get started with that. But just know if you're there from zero and you have nowhere to go and no one trusts you, I'm going to show you how you can do agency arbitrage and basically white label these case studies as your own and get a head start over every other beginner essentially. And you don't have to worry about all this stuff here. Now, just an example of like one of our case studies, I referenced the daycare one, but we basically have to challenge exactly what I was describing, right? I did a discovery call with the daycare coordinator. They told me that they're running ads. They get 25 to 30 leads per day, but they wait 24 to 48 hours to follow up with those leads. So now there's leads that are dropping off. There's manual time spent following up with the leads, chasing them down. They're losing revenue. They're wasting their ad spend. So many problems there, right? So we basically implemented a speed to lead agent, follows up with all of their leads, nurtures them, qualifies them, books them directly on the calendar, all of that good stuff, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And then the results were obviously fantastic. Like we were able to save them all that time. There was a massive increase in their return of ad spend. We were able to generate them $80,000 in additional revenue because of the increase in registrations. So you can see the impact that such a simple automation can have if it's implemented for the right person who has the right volume. If this was a business that was getting like 5 leads per day and they're only following up like 12 hours later or even shorter than that, I probably wouldn't pitch them this. They don't need it. The lead volume isn't there for it to have such a significant impact here. And what would I be able to charge for something like this? So I'll show you exactly how to price and sell high ticket automation, because that's going to be very important for you, how to go through the pricing. So just see if I missed anything here. Perfect. Okay. So now pricing is a big sticking point for a lot of people because they don't know how to come up with their pricing. They just pull numbers out of thin air. And one thing you need to understand is most people price automations based on how complex they look. But that's the wrong way to do it. It's not the number of nodes you have. It's not about, how many days or weeks or months it took you to build this automation or the labor hours that went into it. Nobody's paying you for complexity. It just looks good on social media and you might impress some nerds. But something like this, for example, is not a very complicated or crazy automation that's revolutionary. They paid for it because it got an outcome that they wanted. They don't even know what it looks like behind the scenes. So the business owner doesn't care if it took 5 or 50 steps. So please forget that in your mind. The only thing that they do care about is, does this make me or save me more money than it costs? Everything comes down to ROI and revenue when it comes to automations. Remember that. Don't make automations that save time and automate some or save them some abstract amount of back-end work or replace their receptionist salary. Like, these things don't make sense. It's about anything that impacts revenue. That's why I'm focusing on leads and customers here. Everything that we have ties back to leads and customers, which is the most important thing. So what you want to do is you want to price based on impact, not complexity. So the impact is king. The same automation can be sold for $500 or $15,000 depending on the business size, the lead volume, and the lost revenue and need. Now, an example I'll give you is how I would come up with my pricing for a speed to lead agent is you identify the problem where like a business waits 2 to 3 hours to respond to new leads. You quantify the lost revenue because of the manual process. So if they generate 300 leads a month from ads, the industry stats are about 60% of leads are lost if the response takes more than 5 minutes. This is absolutely true. I've seen this firsthand running ads myself. That's 180 lost leads per month. Even if 10% of those could have closed, that's 18 sales that have been lost. If the average client value is $1,000, that's $18,000 lost per month. All of these numbers are things that you can work out with the client, with them on call. How much is your LTV of a client? What is a client worth to you? How much are you spending on ads? You can do the math with them live. Then you frame the ROI. Your automation is going to ensure instant responses and recovery, capturing just 20% of lost leads. Just 20% of those lost leads is $3,600 extra dollars per month. And over a year, that's $43,000. So charging a $5,000 setup and a $1,000 retainer is very easy to justify if that's what you're saving them over the course of a year, because now they're trading $18,000 in lost revenue for $1,000 a month. That's a no-brainer. And if you have the case studies to back that up, then that's how you can close these deals very easily with ROI and with numbers. It's the simple automations that just make a big impact when the volume is there. Now you can, you can make these complex automations and hope that people will buy them for their complexity. But running my agency for the last 3 years and closing all the money that we have, this is what actually sells based on the data. It's anything tied to revenue. And I hope all of that makes sense, because now going back to the arbitrage point, if it's useless if you have no case studies, it's going to be very hard for you to close deals if nobody can trust you, if you don't have a social media presence like mine, where we have hundreds of thousands of followers, where people can just Google my name and then they can see I run a legit agency. So in your position right now, I'll show you the two routes you have. So there's two routes a beginner can take. One is the traditional solo route, where you basically need to establish credibility yourself. You have to do projects for free or heavily discounted, and you have to get people to trust you to, one, build up your portfolio, but also build up your confidence, because confidence is a big thing. You've never worked with a client before. They've never seen your results. So you don't really know if you can deliver and, make an impact on their business. So that's something that you need to build up for yourself. This will be a long-term play. Most people will get stuck in this trap where they're just working for free, building up their portfolio, and it's going to cost them weeks or months. And that's really what I see. The time to invest into acquiring these skills and mastering them and handling both sales and fulfillment is going to be quite a drag on you over the next coming months, especially until you can hire a team to do that for you. Now, the other thing that's happening now, and what I offer for my agency, and what goes back to the beginning of why I want you to know all of this, is that you can actually get a head start by doing something called an arbitrage agency. What this means is that you can essentially borrow credibility from a more established agency by signing an arbitrage partnership. And what you do is, I do this all the time with a lot of people in my community and people who reach out, and perhaps yourself as well. But essentially, what you do is you use an agency like mine exclusively for all of your back end fulfillment. So essentially, you become the agency owner, and on the back end, an agency like mine would white label under you and do all of your back end fulfillment. So, for example, we have over 30 developers working underneath us. We've done hundreds of projects. We have dozens of case studies. We would then license that out to the agency owner, allowing them to white label our case studies, our testimonials, our projects under their umbrella as if we were theirs. So an arbitrage partner would just have to focus on sales. Now, who is this best for? It's people who can actually sell. It's people who have networks of business. They know how to do marketing, run ads. They're the people who want to just move with speed. They don't want to waste time learning tutorials and the back end stuff and trying to figure everything out on their own. They would rather just get a head start working with another agency, someone that they can trust, someone that they have case studies behind, someone that has social proof. That's why people partner with us, for example. So if that is something that's interesting to you, if you want to go the traditional route, by all means, you can absolutely. I have a school community that's 100% free, where you can learn all the technical details on how to build all this stuff out. Everything that I taught you here is taught inside of there. So the link for that will be in the community. But more interestingly, if you want to start doing arbitrage, because I'm looking for arbitrage partners, obviously, right? So if you have a good sales background, I have an arbitrage program where we basically turn you into an arbitrage agency. We sign an agreement. We give you access to all of our backend case studies, everything that you need, and you'll work directly one-on-one with me until you become a sales machine, essentially, because the higher your close rate, the more efficient you are, the better it is for me, the more I can hire from my agency, and the more money we can close on the development front. So if you're interested in becoming an arbitrage partner, then I have a link in the description, which you can book a call. You can meet with us. We have a strict criteria on who we work with. We obviously have to make sure you're a solid salesperson, and you're somebody that I can trust with my reputation, of course, because I've been building that up over the last 3 years. But you can book a call with us, and I can give you access to pretty much everything that you've seen over here. And then you can start closing deals really from next week. The fastest we've ever seen is the next day we've had an arbitrage partner close the deal, because we just dumped him with a bunch of sales ammunition. He had everything he needed, and he just had to unlock the network that he already had. But this is essentially the blueprint that you need to follow. And all of this is explained even further inside both of my programs, the arbitrage program and the free school committee. But this is what I do on a weekly basis to make over $12,000 every single week. And there's nothing stopping you from doing the exact same thing. So book a call if you're interested. We'll have a conversation and see if you're a good fit.